Welcome back, everyone. Let's start with a definition. An echo chamber is an environment where a person only encounters information or opinions that reflect and reinforce their own. I'm not a Star Wars or a Star Trek aficionado, but I must have seen the clip that I'm about to show you at some point in the past because it came to mind when contemplating this video. Observe this large round thingy out in space. It's completely fortified and isolated, free of unwanted influence. It is the Islamic Apologetic Echo Chamber, or IAEC. But how do things get into the IAEC? Well, this is a popular Muslim apologetic argument, or PMAA. Once an argument becomes popular enough and isolated from a feedback loop, it reaches escape velocity and achieves an ignorance trajectory, IT, that propels it directly to the IAEC, where it docks securely inside for safekeeping. There, the PMAA is stored where it randomly emits codes in the form of laser beams, which are then decoded and appear everywhere from YouTube comments to popular media articles to academic Muslim publishers. One excellent example of a PMAA that shows up frequently on this channel is the Birmingham Quran. Here is one such tiresome example. There's a manuscript in the Birmingham Museum of a Quran dated back to the lifetime of the Prophet, confirming the exact same words today. About this topic, in his most recent book, Stephen Shoemaker comments, radiocarbon analysis of a folio, referring here to one of the folios from the so-called Birmingham Quran, done at Oxford University, dated its parchment to sometime between 568 and 645 CE, with a probability of 95.4%. So far, so good. Kind of. But there are lots of issues with carbon dating, as is well known. Also, carbon dating doesn't tell us when a text was written on the parchment. For these reasons and many more, additional dating methods are used for more precision. However, the Birmingham Quran became very popular among Muslim apologists, and as I've already described, this argument did reach escape velocity on an ignorance trajectory right to the IAEC, where it has been randomly emitting coded laser beams ever since. But why would those of us here on Earth still have reason to question these coded laser beam signals? Shoemaker describes the opinion of an expert on the manuscripts, Alba Fideli. Indeed, despite being credited with discovering the world's oldest Quran in the press, Fideli has from the start insisted that this witness to the Quran should not necessarily be dated as early as this particular radiocarbon analysis might suggest. Fideli herself notes that some features of the manuscript point to a dating near the beginning of the 8th century, when the perfectly miraculously preserved Quran was revised under al-Hajjaj, a dating estimation with which other scholars, like François de Roche, agree. Shoemaker summarizes, given the state of the Quranic text as it was copied onto this manuscript, it seems extremely unlikely that this Quran could possibly date to the time indicated by the radiocarbon analysis of the parchment. If we insist on such a date, between 568 and 645 CE, then we must revise the traditional narrative of the Quran's origins, not to a later date, but in the opposite direction. This manuscript simply is not a first draft of the Quran for reasons that Fideli has amply demonstrated. And so we cannot imagine that this might somehow be one of Uthman's initial codices. Yet the possibility of a pre-Uthmanic Quran leads us in another direction and to another possibility, namely that the Quran, or at least some significant parts of it, is in fact pre-Muhammad. A Quran that is put together, at least in part, from various pre-Islamic traditions and then passed off as divine revelation. There's a YouTube channel that's done a lot of work in that area, and if I can remember the channel name, I'll let you know. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you next time.